Here we go, another episode of Cruising with Phil. My name is Phil DeCruz, and today I have a special guest from Mississauga, a fellow candidate who I met at Labor Day Parade, Mark Freeland from Ward 7, right, Mark?
That's correct. Yeah. Hello, Phil.
Hey. So introduce yourself, Mark, to all the people up there.
Oh, okay. So this is always an interesting thing, right? Like, what do mostly people talk about when they're given free reign to introduce themselves, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, it kind of actually tells you a lot about what people are about, what they think is important, or what they think is calculated to impress the other person to whom
Oh,
they're
yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, what do people mostly do? They to talk about their employment, right? That's like their identity, the most important thing. The first thing that they choose. They say, "Oh, I'm a this a carpenter or what have you," right? Or I guess because we're involved in politics and activism, it's going to be a laundry list of like isms and like
Yeah.
ists, right? Like,
Ism and the issue rights.
yeah, right. Like, oh, I'm a narco syndicalist, type of a thing. Uh,
I want
yeah.
to talk about yourself, though, who you are and where you're from and all that. How about start from there?
Oh, right. So I'm in Mississauga. I've been here for probably 16 or 17 years, and
Okay.
yeah, I love it here. I mean, it's probably a pretty different experience from living in Toronto, which I did for a little while. But you know, I guess you could say you're pretty urban area yourself,
Yeah.
Phil, or
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Pretty Toronto boy.
This is, I mean, we're starting to become a pretty big city in Mississauga, but it still feels very suburban. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You've got these neighborhoods, a lot of fully detached homes and everything like that, right? It's nothing at all like Toronto, in just in terms of how built up it is and the general experience, right? Like I like it here. I like it in Mississauga very much. So there's a lot of parks and so on like that. So
Cool.
yeah, it's not nearly as exciting with all the political going ons in
But
Toronto.
you have your part of politics too. I've been reading about some of the stuff going on there. You know,
Oh, who?
there was that guy, some lady there. I wrote about her. That's another subject whatsoever about you. But it's about she's been harassed by somebody, and then she wanted an investigation, and they
Oh, you're
did.
talking about in City Hall, the one counselor that
Yeah,
was harassed, and then
yeah,
yeah,
and nobody took her seriously, and then she finally got some results later. Like it went on for a while, right?
yeah, I think so. And then, but yeah, another counselor was actually
Yeah, and he's
arrested.
running again. Eh? Wow.
Oh, no kidding.
No, yeah.
Um,
Well, let's talk about
yeah,
you. Where are you from? Are you born in Toronto?
no, Scarborough.
Oh, Scarborough. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but my my family moved up to Thornhill, which is it's just an odd little area that is sandwiched between Markham and Vaughan
Yeah,
and
I see.
Toronto.
I see you landscaping that area. I know the area. Thornhill and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, I guess yeah, well, that lifestyle with the fully detached home and all that sort of seemed like it was affordable for my parents' generation. You know what I mean? And um, myself, I would say I probably earned more money myself than both of my parents did, without neither of them had any post-secondary education or anything like that, right? But still, even with these, like my dad worked in a factory, and my mom worked for White Rose Nurseries
Oh, you
as
kidding? White Road? I miss that store.
and yeah, but pretty nice. Yeah, I don't think there's anything quite like that anymore.
No, not like that. They have Michaels now, but like you need a mortgage to shop there, right?
Yeah, but yeah, that doesn't have the whole plant thing going on.
Yeah. Why did it close down? White Rose? Just business was bad, or just bad marketing, or what?
I can't recall, but that was quite some time ago. Probably at
Yeah,
least 20 years.
yeah,
And
I know.
yeah, they were near where my family lived, on Highway 7, the sort of.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah. That's the one. That's where I used to go to all the time. White Rose right there. Yeah, exactly. Right off the highway there. So, are you a single guy, married guy, or what?
Oh, married, and have I was lucky. We have a son. He's now 15. He's my size now. Yeah,
15. Wow. Okay.
I know. He wears size 12 uh, shoes.
But you're pretty tall too, right? When I met you.
Uh, yeah, I'm actually very average,
Yeah.
very average. I would say that's partly what is interesting about having me, talk about myself is just I really think that there's anything unique or especially qualifying about myself in any particular respect. I'm not. I don't know. I don't think I'm terribly self-important or sort of shining example or leader of in some respect or anything like that. I'm just a guy doing my best to afford a decent lifestyle. You know what
That's
I
good.
mean?
You take care of your son and your wife. So we met at the Labor Day parade back then in September,
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
keep, I remember remember how we met after the parade you came over and you started doing your impersonations.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We had some very excellent banners.
Yeah. And you're doing
Actually,
impersonations. I was doing the 'cause I love I love
oh,
doing
that's right.
I love
Yeah.
impersonations. I used to you know remember Rich Little?
No,
Well,
no.
he was a great impersonator. He was one of the classics there. Do all kinds of voices. And I used to when I was young, do all kinds of voices. I used to imitate my sister in high school and get away with so much because I had the voice was really high back then. You know, now
Yeah,
I
I think
just
I remember
now I just do
because we,
sound effects.
we had great banners there, and
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
they were all pretty awesome, pretty radical, right? And so while we were there um, by the reviewing station, I saw my own union coming along,
I
and
remember you were talking about
I
that.
was like, I don't really, kind of don't really want to be associated with this, and I'm happy to be associated with it, but I feel like my union leadership would have been frowned upon, uh, sort of my proximity to these, thump, uh, dump thug forward signs and everything like
Oh
that.
yeah. And the big didn't they have the big dummy, the big blown up dummy
Oh
down?
yeah, that wasn't my local. It was
Yeah, I saw that.
so I wanted to kind of like just disappear into the background a little bit. All the business reps from my own union came by. Yeah, I think I remember mocking just how cartoonishly gangsterish that they can seem at times. You guys, you should take the contract because it's a good contract, and you never know. You don't want to go on the strike. Nobody likes to go on the strike.
That's exactly what he talks like.
I remember. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. Great. Actually, I think that was the first time I met Alana.
Oh, she's cool.
Yeah, she's really neat. I was actually just speaking with her.
She's a mil well not saying military brat. She's ex-military. Her father's military, ex-military, retired.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's had some very interesting uh, jobs as a policy analyst and working.
Oh yeah. She's very smart. Yeah,
Yeah, very very neat person.
and
So
she'll defend you to the end. I know that. You know.
great.
So how'd you have you always been interested in politics like
Uh,
before, or how'd you get
okay,
into
but
it?
it's interesting. So I want to go see ballet, and so the National Ballet is doing this new avant-garde performance of this production. It's never been seen before, and it's based on Margaret Atwood.
What's it called? Balls in space or
Mad Adam. Mad
what?
Adam. What is it? Is it a palindrome when it's the same forward and reverse?
I can't. Yeah, I think.
And I've read one of the books, I think, and it was like in the early 2000s that it came out, and it's really unique for a Margaret Atwood book. It's I would like to describe it as cyberpunk, and it is just complete with anti-capitalist messaging, or at least that's how I read it. I mean, and it just it has this way of taking what was happening at the time and what is happening now and just exaggerating it to this absurd proportions to reveal just how uh, sickening it actually is, right? Like in the book, they have headless chickens that they grow in laboratories now, right? And they're coming up with all these other disgusting things just to make new commodities, and they're using crazy gene splicing technology in the book. So there's yeah. So it really seems to be about just how eager we are to twist new technologies into things that are just marketable or saleable, like something new to make money off of. And I remember reading that. I was in my early 20s and just being captivated by that. So it's interesting that they turned this book into a ballet. So I'm not sure what they were thinking exactly or how they thought this it was
So
going to
did they have
translate.
like ballet chickens on the stage or what?
They did. They did. They had
Yeah.
this monstrous genetic abomination capering around on stage with the rest of the dancers. Like, which dancers did they say? Oh, well, you got to put this costume on, and but really, the whole thing was just like an assault on the senses. They were like, right at the beginning there, they were projecting images of Molotov cocktail throwing protesters over top of the ballet, right? Like on a scrim, projecting it over top of the stage and everything. Um, and yeah, just between the music, which there was a lot of electronic noises, it was an assault on the senses, like, and it was very, very interesting. But
That's what
it's
got you into politics?
well, this book, yeah, this
Yeah,
book.
cool. Wow.
That so when I was in high school, I got drawn in by this whole, you know, um, the engine of the world idea, right? I think I read Ayn Rand when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, maybe at that time I thought I was somehow going to be part of this elite. You know what I mean? That was going to like I'm something special. Like, it's this same I don't know um, illusion that I had that somehow I'm going to be different or I'm going to be a disruptor. I'm going to be Elon Musk or something like that when I grow up, right? And I don't know. I thought that maybe reading that book sort of made me see, oh, it's actually all a conceit and it's all a big illusion, right? And and now, well into the future, now I'm just like an ordinary Joe that goes to work and is paying bills and stuff like that, right? Like, and I look back on that sort of naive idea that we're all special or something like that is just bunk. Um, you know, yeah. So,
That's
but
so,
I
so
really thought that was radicalizing. This was the first time I thought about this whole capitalism. I would say, you know what I mean, as being just sort of this disgusting phenomenon, as opposed to being, some bright hope for the future. Like I don't know that maybe we shouldn't be innovating all of these things. Oh, maybe, yeah, and now some 15 to 20 years after that book has been released, I mean, just about everything that she talked about, Margaret Atwood, I mean, in that book, has sort of come to pass, right? Like the normalization of pornography on the internet and um, kids watching beheading videos and guys streaming you know mass murder on Twitch or like Facebook or that type of stuff. I mean, all those things that seem. Oh, in the book too, there's a plague, that causes the extinction of mankind. There's a eco-fascist that his plan is to make humanity extinct. That's what I mean. And that now that we've lived through a plague, doesn't that doesn't really seem it happened. You know what I mean? And they actually disguise this plague in a pharmaceutical, right? And there's echoes of that. These vaccine conspiracies where there must be chips in the vaccine, or that's what's actually making us ill instead of the pandemic, right? So yeah, it's
interesting,
just
eh? Kind of
yeah,
related. It seems related in the way I can't even think about it. Pandemic and all the conspiracies about the whole COVID
yeah.
and all that.
Well,
You
that's how they get them in the book is they come up with this little blue pill.
yeah.
Uh, that provides protection against HIV and is a contraceptive. And so it's like the ultimate party drug also. So they distribute this out. Of course, everybody takes it because, you know, everybody wants to just get down and party, right? And you don't want to have any worries or responsibilities. But they've secreted the plague inside of these pills, and that's how they've distributed all over the world and ultimately caused the extinction of mankind.
Hmm.
Fascinating, isn't it?
It's kind of like sounds familiar. Like what happened last year's.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of weird, eh?
And then
All these theories I had.
life imitates art, I guess, in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah. So,
Really,
so the book got you into the politics, and then you got what you were
yeah.
hoping.
Maybe I think maybe it started me thinking about thinking more critically about what we accept as being normal life, right? And I don't think that it's actually all that normal. You know what I mean? For us to be having to constantly pursue uh, money as opposed to actually being able to enjoy ourselves. You know what I mean? And and to what end? Like is all that? But I'm not going to pretend that I'm some super anti-capitalist. You can probably see
you
behind.
did
I've
you
got
do
got some
did you do
hobbies.
did you do any like any volunteering with in politics or whatever or any in relation to that?
No, I think it was during the sort of first year of the pandemic, and I saw that there was a lot of protests surrounding um, Israeli apartheid and Palestine, and
Okay.
that's when I decided, instead of just thinking deep thoughts and hiding in my basement, maybe I'll go and participate. And that's sort of how I started to meet
Oh, cool.
other activists and actually really become involved beyond just you know uh, just thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's only recently that I've sort of tried to participate in things,
Funny how
besides.
one thing leads to another for a book too. What made you decide finally put your name in to run for your award? Like
Uh,
what is the deciding factor for you?
well, we'd been talking about it for a long time. I'm a part of a Socialist Action, and then so we were trying to get something organized, and we thought about it. Pardon me. We talked about it for about a year, and then it became clear that nobody in Mississauga was going to participate. There was lots of interest from people in Toronto to run for school board or councillor, and nobody was sort of stepping up in Mississauga. So, well, I guess I can give it a try. I mean, I had no idea what I was getting into, so it seemed like it was something I could afford, and I didn't think I would get as involved with it as I did.
It's like the same process like in Toronto. We have to put like you got to put a deposit as mayor. I have to pay $200 for mayor. You get a reverse for ward. You get I think it's 100 for a ward over your Toronto. It's the same for you in Mississauga for a ward,
That's the same. That's the same.
and you get
So
20. You got to get 25 endorsements.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, which
Yeah.
wasn't so bad. I mean, so yeah, for the most part, I just people that I've met at in my neighborhood and where I shop and so on. It wasn't that hard. After living here for 15 years, enough people recognize you that they don't feel like them giving you their home address. They don't see you as a risk, right? Because they're like, oh, well, he's at this grocery store like 3 times a week. I mean, I don't think he's representing a risk. But if you can't convince people that you're trustworthy enough to get those 25 endorsements, then it's not likely you're going to do very well.
Yeah. So how'd you do in your finals, like for the
Uh,
election?
so 580 votes. So I narrowly missed third place by 71 votes, I think. And
Was Was the vote turnout low like in Toronto? We did like what we rate 20% low vote turnout.
I'm not sure what the total population of Ward 7 is, but the total number of votes was, well, it was less than 10,000. Um, uh, Topeka Damerla won with just over 5,000 votes. Second place was, I think, 1,500. And then there were seven candidates in my ward. And
Oh
then
yeah.
Amir Ali uh, was third with 670 votes. I got 580, and then there were three others behind me. So
Did you guys get a lot of media coverage in your in Mississauga then? Like
that none. There was
nothing,
no
no either.
debates. There was nothing. Nothing
Yeah,
in Miss.
same as you. Yeah, over here nothing. Trying to get. I call them for like when I started, I called them for months and nothing. Even though all the other candidates words as well. A lot of them. A few got picked out. It's a lot of I was trying to Mississauga about don't what's her name? Crombie won again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
won again.
Oh, and second place was the anti-vax freedom convoy,
Oh
David Shaw.
yeah, 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 I
Like,
know.
like really? Like, it was a little disappointing, but I mean, it wasn't even remotely close. I think.
Did you get a lot of how many did you do a lot of debates for your award?
Uh, no, there was only two town halls,
That's
and
it. Eh?
really, actually, they didn't afford really well, out of the two, the one that was hosted by Acorn for Ward 7 uh, gave myself and the other candidate that showed up an opportunity to speak, right? But otherwise, I think it was Justice for Peel. They had a town hall, but none of the candidates were actually allowed to participate in any kind of meaningful way. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they wanted to. I'm not sure they wanted to pitch their own election platform, and they declined to let any of the candidates speak, and refused to endorse any candidates or anything like that. So it was pretty underwhelming.
It's kind of like
And
Toronto. Yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah, I guess the mayor race must have been pretty interesting. And I'm sure I saw your photo in a couple of sort of events.
Yeah, so yeah, they also you get a lot of surveys. We get surveys, tons of surveys.
Right? Yeah.
My funniest one. I don't know if you get these one like questionnaires. Like some people or entities, they'll say, "Can you answer like 5 questions in 100 words or less for all 5 questions?" I said, so I did what I got like I was like number the 20th survey had the same kind of scenario. Please answer only 100 less than 100 words. I have these 8 questions. So I just put yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
I
They kept it at that. But
think
then
there was
so
something like that. I mean, there was a website that sort of tried to make a little profile of each of
oh yeah,
the.
they had we had the TTC questionnaire and I got Jill got top and I was second with another lady, American, another fellow candidate. And the only reason I got number second because I didn't they had a question after and also questions. The one question I didn't say yes to was the do you support putting, the bears in the subway, the doors? The
Oh, okay, on the
yeah,
platform.
yeah, all that. But I said no, but did they give you any room to say why? So I said no because I said like in Europe, like in Asia, they have the doors like wall to wall, like ceiling to wall, ceiling to floor, like the doors open. So the subway
Oh,
stop. Well, I thought that a lot better because even if you put these barriers or ramps, you're gonna get some people gonna challenge it, right? That's why I said no. I don't believe in putting the ramp. I would rather have the doors wall to wall or ceiling to floor, right? Like they have that.
right. You were actually opting for potentially a much safer.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, because I said I did because I said I don't agree, I didn't support that the little doors or whatever. So I got little one mark less. So that was okay. Yeah, they get these surveys and they get these you get the library one, you get the TTC, you get the Globe one. The Globe was kind of biased. I know the guy is looks like a nice guy. I never met him personally, but he said give you questions about all these he's gonna answer in about 10 minutes. So anyways, you answer them, and then he wrote it out. All there's only like nine of us back then, but then he puts kind of his own personal comments. Like this doesn't look like it's going to be realistic about something I said. I was really why put your personal comments there, buddy? Like so. Anyways, So mostly surveys and questionnaires, lots of phone calls. Did you get people like emailing and say that I'm here to save your campaign? I had a lot of those.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly, those.
I got a lot of I met a lot of good people. I actually helped a lot of people out. They asked for things done in their area that couldn't get done with their counselor. So I phoned 301. I went through the ropes and they got a lot. We got like a lot of the ward candidates, like particularly I love them, they use their platform for people to help people. Like one lady, she'd help 50 people in an area with a certain area in a certain situation, and so they got good results. And that's great. And I promoted food banks. I'm the only American that promoted food banks, charities, defended the candidates. I did a couple of videos to fund the candidates because I was looking for money. I'm good, you know. So, but the media doesn't pick up any of this. Not that I was doing photo ops, just for myself. But and then people came up and go like, "Oh, you promote the candidates?" Yeah. So why is that in the media? I don't know. It's not new. It's not notable, right? But
Yeah, it was really interesting in Toronto, especially because there was a lot of news stories saying, "Oh, this is going to be a very exciting election. So many incumbents are not running again. Look at all these, who's going to." And then they complained, "Oh, not a lot of people are running. Some of the seats are going to be acclaimed." But then for those people that were participating, they gave them no coverage whatsoever,
oh
right?
no, nothing, nothing.
Uh, they they the media didn't try and get us to participate in democracy. They just
There's like
complained.
I went through every ward candidate platform and I read a lot of their personal stories. There's so many nice personal stories that could be that's for the media that for sure people like common people. Yeah, like one actually she got elected. She ran and she started a food bank in her ward and she also started the mothers group. That's something most, for social services that's some people don't know about. Another candidate advocated for creating a disability center for people with wheelchairs and that wasn't covered. I mean, this is all personal stories that should be in any media. That's a like and another lady, she did something for babies, something about single mothers for baby, and she started that before she ran for election, and that wasn't covered. Like these are all personal stories that a lot of the candidates this year, specifically this year, a lot of they're all personal, and they all had one thing was just helping the community. There was no really alternative. Maybe one or two alternative motives. They just wanted for the money, but the rest were all good. I mean, I talked to out of the 84 people that over 84 people ran. I met online and personally, like yourself, over 40 of them talked to you personally and got the stories and all and what they're all about. And they said, you know what? And there's a lot of frustration. They email me and they go like, like I want to get the stuff across. I phoned Global Mail, I phoned Globe, I phoned Global, I phoned CTV, City TV 24. You know, it's making me laugh, but I don't know if you find it hypocritical. You ever see the news? If you got a news tip, phone it in. If you got something to say, phone it in.
Right.
This should say instead of saying phone it in. If we like it, we'll talk about it. If not, don't bother. I phoned about one article. We had a controversy. One of the candidates. So I phoned them in about talking about them. Sorry, thanks for your interest, but it's not really not up our storyline or whatever. That was 24 channel, the city 24 city.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, because and then at the bottom they said news tips, any stuff for the media, anything going on in your community, let us know. We'll promote it. So I phoned them up. I said we got an event going on. It said, sorry, we're not interested right now. I'm running for the mayor. I said, oh, thanks. Good luck. Take care. Oh, I have 5 minutes left. But anyways, it was like that. It was like the whole election. It was all basically manipulated, covered. A lot of the incumbents got their promotion from the Toronto Star. I've been reading the Toronto Star since I was a kid. When I was in the military, I used to get Toronto Star over in the East West Coast. I used to go pick out all the weekends, the weekend paper. Back then it was like $6 as paperback. So I read
It's
all the
such a
Star.
different paper now, hey? It's so different. That's really, I don't know,
Oh,
my
yeah, it's like the
folks
paper,
look at.
like it's so thin, right? You
Yeah.
know, one day it'll be like the open page will be the end. That'll be it, right? Yeah, but I tell you that Toronto Star, a lot of people think that. But the like Ottawa, I actually watched the Ottawa election. I watched all their debates, all their candidates got covered, and even Hamilton. They all got and they're all their signs up and vote early and all that. And it was nice to see all that. And people are like, I have people overseas that I know calling me and let me know, hey, where's your debates? What's going on with your election? How do you know about my debates? How do you know what's going on in my election? It reaches around the world because Toronto's well known, but what locally wasn't getting anything. I had a guy from CNN call me. He says, "You want to
Oh,
do a
really?
feature? Yeah, you want to do? I know some of the people. Like, you want to do a feature? What do you want to do? Can we do a feature about the lack of coverage in your city about your election?" I go, "No, I said, I'm gonna get in trouble. I better do that." CNN calling, right? From the branch outside of Toronto. But
That's
we got 4 minutes. Next, we'll get to talk to the next half hour about your job. You got a really, I love doing promoting jobs, and your job's pretty unique. We'll talk about that next one. But as for you, so are you gonna? I'm gonna ask you. Are you gonna continue with politics for yourself?
yeah, mainly because the big expenditures I had was some signs, and I plan on keeping those for the next 4 years so they can kind of get my money's worth out of them. So, I mean, I'm not gonna throw them out, and I'm not gonna keep them in my garage for no reason. So, no, but all jokes aside, I think I'd like to try again for city council, and
Oh, good.
so I mean, I think I had a very threadbare campaign. I think,
It's like an eye opener, right? And then did you find yourself
yeah.
now you're getting more openings, even you're not running right now. Like right now, I'm getting all invites for different events going on, and so like,
Oh, I met some awesome people through all this,
yeah, no, yeah,
um, and yeah, the reality was that the amount of ground pounding that I did, because I work 60 hours a week, I
right.
wasn't
You had a full
actually,
time job and you're
yeah,
still
full-time job the whole time.
yeah,
I'm not able financially to take any time off, and obviously can't very well spend a ludicrous amount on my own campaign. But so I think it was my total expenses were $570 or something like that, and
you good? Wow.
for yeah, roughly that. And I had I think maybe 4 days that I dedicated to like 2 or 3 Saturdays, and a couple of days were just after work. I went here or there to just sort of talk to people in Ward 7. So I didn't really have a whole lot of time to devote to it, and I see, for me, I think that I had a pretty good showing, right in the middle of 7 candidates, and you know, I think I did pretty well. A good showing for how much I was able to put in. So I take that as meaning that the platform that I was running on and the message I was trying to get across actually reached people very well, and people were actually really into it. I mean, if I distributed, say, 2,000 flyers and got 600 votes, I, if one out of every four people that you talk to agrees with your ideas, and it wasn't because of any other advertising or some kind of brilliant social media presence or anything like that. So it must have been those policy issues that attracted people to
That's
vote.
cool. Yeah. So you got people out there believing you, and even that's the amount.
Yeah,
Got about 1 minute left coming up. So what happened was I'll come back at take it half an hour. They'll come back at next session 3 o'clock,
sounds
and
good.
yeah, before I get cut off here, but yeah, we'll talk about your job, your next, because you got a unique job. I mean, do you think it's regular? I think it's unique what you're doing. I want people to know what you're doing. It. And when you showed me the pictures back then, I was like, what the heck is that? And then you show me exactly what you're doing because you can't talk about too much about the job. So I'm gonna get cut off in about 1 minute here. So I'll see you in a half an hour, and
See you
we'll
soon.
continue on. Yeah. If you want to throw anything else in the conversation, just throw it whatever. Just your more impersonations. I got a couple of myself. I love.
No, no.
I can do something. I'll get in trouble.
Okay,
I'll talk
fantastic.
to you.
Cheers
Yeah,
for playing. See you soon.
I'll talk to you half an hour. See, cut off here. Okay.
Let's
Oh,
see.
cut off there. I think that
Okay,
yeah, now I'll get cut
you're
off. Okay, leaving me now. I'll talk to you in a bit.